Aerosmith spent decades sneaking filthy jokes, double meanings, and bedroom stories onto the radio, and getting away with it. Here are 7 Aerosmith songs too dirty for radio to explain.
Think it's my new obsession.
Starting with a track that turned one of the oldest stories in the Bible into something you would not hear in Sunday school. Number 7, Adam's Apple. On the surface, it's a stompin' blues rocker about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. But Aerosmith is not retelling Genesis for spiritual reflection. Tyler takes the forbidden fruit, the serpent, and the fall of man, then turns one of the oldest stories in the Bible into a joke about temptation, desire, and sex being as old as humanity itself. And the dirtiest part is hiding in Eve's bite. The song keeps coming back to the apple, the taste, the temptation, and that first forbidden bite, until the Bible story starts sounding a lot less like scripture and a lot more like Steven Tyler wordplay. Tyler loved that Love at First Bite line so much that he wanted to call the entire album Love at First Bite. That shows you how Tyler's mind works. Hand him the Garden of Eden, and his instinct is to turn temptation into a punchline and crank it up. The next song was inspired by a blend of literature, streetwalkers, and a rapidly approaching deadline. Number 6, Lord of the Thighs, 1974.
Well, Lord of my God, what do we got?
This title is an obvious bit of innuendo, but it is also a play on Lord of the Flies, the William Golding novel, which is exactly the kind of joke Aerosmith probably didn't get enough credit for making in 1974. And the story behind it is pure early Aerosmith. The band was finishing Get Your Wings at the record plant in New York, but they still needed one more song for the album. So they locked themselves in Studio C and pulled the idea from what they were seeing around them: the seedy 8th Avenue street life near their hotel. Tom Hamilton later described it as a portrait of the street life they used to pass while walking back to the hotel at dawn. The girls in satin hot pants, the pimps in big velvet hats, and the whole after-hours New York underworld. Looking back, he compared it to something out of Taxi Driver. Steven Tyler described it even more bluntly in his memoir. It was about a pimp and the wildlife out on the street. This was not one of Aerosmith's shiny pop crossover smashes. It was something sleazier, the kind of album rock cut that could live in the FM world without anybody stopping to explain what Tyler was actually singing about. But underneath that, it is Aerosmith turning 1970s New York nightlife into a slinky, sinister blues rock character study, with Tyler playing the guy who rules that whole dangerous little world. The next track started with Steven Tyler checking out a gorgeous blonde across a club, only to realize he was staring at one of the biggest rock stars of the 80s. Number 5. Dude Looks Like a Lady, 1987. One of the band's biggest hits, reaching number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100, it also became one of the songs that helped power Aerosmith's late 80s comeback. But for a song that played all over radio and MTV, the story is a lot dirtier than the title makes it sound. It's about a guy who walks into a bar, falls hard for a gorgeous blonde on stage, gets pulled into the fantasy, and then realizes a little late that she is a he. And the punchline is not that he runs away. The song keeps going. That is what makes it sound so wild for radio. Tyler turns the whole thing into a backstage hookup fantasy, complete with lines about sneaking a peek, being fooled by the body, and realizing the attraction did not exactly disappear. And the reason the song exists is even funnier than the song itself.
Love put me wise to her love in disguise. She had the body of a Venus.
According to songwriter Desmond Child, Tyler had been in a club when he spotted someone at the far end with teased-up platinum hair, black nails, porcelain skin, jewelry, and the kind of look that made everyone start wondering who was going to walk over first. Then the person turned around. It was Vince Neil, the lead singer of Motley Crue. Aerosmith had changed the idea into a weaker chorus, cruising for the ladies, because they worried "dude looks like a lady" might offend people. But Child pushed them back to the original phrase and convinced them that was the real hook. Which means one of Aerosmith's biggest comeback hits started with one very awkward case of mistaken attraction, and somehow turned it into a radio anthem about desire not caring what it just discovered. Next up, Aerosmith turned one innocent color into one of the bluntest, dirty jokes of their career, and radio played it like a feel-good sing-along. Number 4. Pink, 1997.
Pink, it's my new obsession.
Pink reached number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100, went all the way to number 1 on Billboard's mainstream rock chart, and then won Aerosmith a Grammy at the 1999 ceremony. Pretty good for a song about female anatomy. Tyler was not exactly hiding it. Pink was bright, bouncy, harmonica-driven, and built around a color that sounds innocent until you realize what he is actually singing about. And one joke often attached to the song sums up the idea. The only difference between pink and purple is the grip. That is about as blunt as the song gets. The song sailed onto pop and rock radio anyway, while the CGI-heavy video pushed the innuendo even further. Somehow, Pink still came out looking like a harmless late 90s Aerosmith hit, even though the joke was sitting right there in the title.
Pink as the sheets that we lay on.
Coming up, there's a cover so suggestive that radio stations reportedly would not touch the original, and then the big one, the single filthiest thing Aerosmith ever put to tape, which also happens to be the most famous song on this entire list. Stick around, it only gets dirtier from here. Number 3, Love in an Elevator, 1989. Released in 1989, this one barely counts as hidden because the title tells you precisely what is going on. It went to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, hit number 1 on Billboard's mainstream rock chart, went gold, and became one of the biggest songs of the pump era. Pretty impressive for a song about having sex in an elevator. And according to Tyler, the story was not exactly pulled out of thin air. The way he tells it, Love in an Elevator was something he had actually done, back in the days when Aerosmith stories had a way of getting completely out of hand. In one version of the tale, the doors opened at exactly the wrong moment, leaving Tyler stuck in that brutal little eternity between getting caught and waiting for the doors to close again. The call-and-response hook, "Doing me, doing you," is exactly as literal as it sounds. But radio played it non-stop anyway, and the song was big enough to land Aerosmith on the MTV Video Music Awards stage. Next up is a cover song Aerosmith found through Dr. Demento's weird radio pipeline. And even Steven Tyler swore people were hearing something dirtier than what he actually sang. Number 2, Big 10-inch Record, 1975. On the surface, the song is about a guy whose girlfriend goes wild for his prized possession, a big 10-inch record of a band that plays the blues. The whole joke works because of the way Tyler pauses before the word record. A beat just long enough for your brain to fill the gap with something else. And it worked a little too well. Tyler said plenty of people, including disc jockeys, were convinced he was singing something filthy, when he swore the line was only, "Except for my big 10-inch record." It's a cover of a 1952 Bull Moose Jackson tune, written by Fred Weismantel, and originally released by King Records on a 10-inch 78. So yes, technically, it really was a big 10-inch record. The joke was so obvious that Bull Moose Jackson's original reportedly was not a hit because radio stations would not touch it. Aerosmith got turned on to it through Zonk Rock, a New Hampshire DJ who knew Dr. Demento, and sent Tyler cassettes of strange old records from LA. Then Aerosmith dressed it up with Scott Cushnie's piano and a horn section, turning an old dirty blues novelty into one of the funniest deep cuts on Toys in the Attic. And the number one spot goes to a song that probably would have had a much harder time on radio if people could actually understand what Steven Tyler was saying. Number 1. Walk This Way, 1975. The biggest one, and the filthiest one yet. You know this song. Aerosmith's original went top 10 in 1977. Then got a whole second life in 1986 when Run DMC took it to number 4 and helped turn rap rock crossover into a mainstream phenomenon. Classic rock radio has been spinning it ever since. It's also an explicit tale about a teenager losing his virginity. The whole thing is a play-by-play. Tyler's own breakdown spells it out more clearly. The backstroke lover line is the kid by himself in his room before he has ever been with a girl. Then comes the cheerleader, her sister, her cousin, and the title itself. Walk This Way is the experienced girl guiding him, showing him where to go and what to do. The title came from an unexpected place. Some of the guys had gone to see the Mel Brooks movie Young Frankenstein when Marty Feldman's Igor tells Gene Wilder's Dr. Frankenstein to follow him, says, "Walk this way," and limps off. They came back to the studio still laughing about it, and the phrase stuck. So, one of the dirtiest songs Aerosmith ever cut is also the one your local rock station has spun about 10,000 times. And once you hear what Tyler was actually saying, you cannot unhear it. That's our list. What other bands were pros at sneaking dirty songs onto the airwaves? Let us know in the comments. And if you made it this far, you'll probably crush the Backstage Classics trivia book. It's linked below.